Everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Just going to give it a couple seconds here for everyone to join.
What's up? What's up?
Hey. What's up, guys?
Ooh, already got 13 people in the chat.
Yes.
So apparently there's a cold front coming in, and it is like, what would you say, -15 where Jessica is?
Yes.
Which I don't think is real. That doesn't sound like a real number. It's also really cold where I'm at in the south at like 45 degrees. So if you're from the north, let us know what the temperature is right now, because that sounds insane. And today, me and Tyson, we're going to talk about how to move you south instead of the AI versus humans chat we were going to talk about. So we're going to save some people today. We're saving lives.
Well, I don't think introductions are needed. Sam, if you want to kick off, let everyone know who you are, who might not
David's
know.
at -6 over here. Jeez, bro. How do you do that? I don't know.
We're at 21 degrees, but it feels like 4 degrees out here in New York.
Jeez. Denver, Colorado. What's up, Kyle?
Man, must not be getting much snow out in Denver.
I lived there for 2 years. It's still one of my favorite places in the world.
Try to make a trip in March, get some skiing in.
Get it.
Nice.
Love that. Got more people jumping in. Whitney at 20 in Indy. I feel like it would be colder there. Maybe not. I don't know. Cool. Do we want to do?
It's got to be a parade in Indy today, right? After the win yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing win.
That's an incredible story.
Yeah, incredible story and incredible weather. 20 in Indy. That's a high for both things. Cool.
Awesome.
Tyson.
You guys ready to get? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was about to do literally what you're about to do too. You want to get started and you want to like introduce yourself. I'm sure everybody knows who you are, but in case they don't, introduce us to who the legendary Tyson Jen is.
Yeah, I'll get started first. Tyson, I'm one of the founders of Avoca. Avoca is a full agentic platform for built for the home services. We've been around for 4 years. Flagship product is AI CSR. Sounds and feels just like a CSR, and helps out in a variety of ways. And now we do a lot more too in the marketing realms, which I'm sure we'll get into a bit. But great to meet everyone, and I'm so excited to have this talk with you today, Sam.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember the first time I heard Avoca live agent, and I was like, okay, when are we going to get to the AI agent? It was so good. We were at one of the Breaking 5 conference and owned and operated at John's spot. And I was like, wow, this is good. So it is, if you have not experienced it, you should.
Remember when we called, you thought I was an AI agent for a second.
Yeah. I was like, get off here. I want to talk to Tyson. But yes, so if you don't know who I am, you probably don't. I'm new to the scene. My name is Sam Preston. I'm the CEO of Service Scalers. We are a home service marketing company. We focus on paid advertising and organic to your website to drive you more leads so that Avoca can help you schedule more appointments and you can close more deals. We actually have had a partnership. We've got quite a few crossover clients that work together, and it's a good partnership. So we are here. I think the subject today is to talk about when is it better to use AI versus a human, or vice versa, because it's not always better. Sometimes humans are better. And to get this started, I think that there's this idea that humans are always better. And at something, if you could put a human in there versus AI, it's always better. But there's that newest robot. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. It's like a humanoid, walks around, does his dishes. And I thought that was really cool when they came out and announced it. They've raised a bunch of money. But the moment I figured out it was no longer a robot, but it was actually a human powering behind, I was like, I don't want some human in my house doing my dishes. Like that feels, that's an invasion of privacy. I don't know if I like that. Robot, we're good. We're cool. Now on the flip side, when somebody's coming to check out like my HVAC system, I probably want a human to take a look at it versus an AI robot. I don't know. Maybe we'll get to that point, Tyson. That's your next venture, techs that are robots. But like there are situations where humans are better and then AI. That's what we're here to talk about. I'll stop. Tyson, go for it.
Well, I was going to say, like, yeah, one of the most interesting reports recently is that AI is actually, it's taken over a lot more white collar jobs, and it's a lot of professions like accounting, law. My former colleagues in consulting. It's able to do those jobs significantly better. And we're actually seeing a lot of those jobs are on the decline, but the jobs are actually still increasing at the most rapid rates are the ones in the physical economy. So trades, construction, things where, because the gap, because I used to work at a robotics company called Neuro, the gap is always the hardware. Hardware is the hardest part. And so that's why I think it's an amazing time to be in the trades, maybe one of the best times in history to be in the trades, because those jobs are not going to be automated. You need that human touch to get in there, build the rapport with the customer. I think it's very topical.
Yeah, and I think this is a big, I know we're going to get into the details on which one's better, but this is a big question to answer for you as a company, because if you get it wrong, you end up spending more money on, on humans that you shouldn't, or you're not collecting enough leads where you should be getting more. So like this is a big money problem to fix. I think you get a lot more out of this if you answer these questions right and you do it right.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, maybe to start with, Sam, maybe we talk about what are the areas that humans are still the most necessary and critical areas with operating a trades company. You wanna go first?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, obviously, like the technology doesn't exist, but like anywhere where you have to show empathy and actually get on somebody's level, I think is going to be where humans are going to thrive. Obviously, being able to empathize in the moment where you walk into a house and you're having the conversation of, oh, it's like you're sweating bullets in here because you're so hot. I know nobody feels that problem right now because everyone's freezing. But the opposite problem, like they walk into the house, it's freezing inside because their heater is not working. Being able to empathize in those problems. I think the flip side there too is when, and Tyson, correct me if I'm wrong, but like somebody calls in because they had a problem with your tech, or they have an issue with, how something was set up. Their HVAC system isn't working anymore. Being able to have somebody that is on the phone that can answer and go, oh yeah, like I totally get that. I would be frustrated too if that happened. I feel like that empathy is hard to get from an AI, because the moment it's AI, your brain goes to, well, they don't actually care. And I think sometimes what they need most in that moment is just feeling like somebody else cares about their situation.
Yeah, I would add a step further that really any job that requires any degree of salesmanship and kind of convincing is generally, that's where humans have an edge. And so to give you guys kind of an interesting kind of example or case study, in the recent 2 years, there's been a number of startups that have raised a ton of like VC venture funding to build what we call AI SDRs. And people always ask me and say, "Hey, Tyson, like, why don't you guys use SDRs?" It's like they thought of some great idea. It's like, wait, you guys have these voice AI agents. why do you still have a giant, 30-person sales team? Or why do you still have like, a dozen SDRs? Couldn't you just use your own robots? And the answer is one, it'd be illegal to use voice agents, but two, they would perform significantly worse because the art of doing an outbound call, you have a split second really to build rapport, convince someone that you're interrupting from their day-to-day task or watching football to even give you 2 minutes, and you really need that human connection. And so where I was going was, in the past 2 years, there's been half dozen of these AI SDR startups. They always, who doesn't want more sales? So they always get a lot of venture funding, and they'll quickly scale up their revenue to like maybe, I don't know, 2, 5, 10, 20 million. But then they've all died because when companies ultimately realize is that AI is just not there yet to be able to do a full-on sales conversation and have the charisma, develop the human relationship necessary to actually sell well. Now, there's obviously nuance to that, and there's ways where in situations that aren't quite as high stakes as a cold outbound, you can bring AI into it. But yeah, I really think that when I think about what you need a human for, I think instantly, like anything that revolves around salesmanship and convincing someone of something is a really good example of what you still want to have a human workforce for.
Why do you think that is? Is it the empathy thing where like they just like, oh, you don't care, you're not actually trying to solve my problem? Or is it just is it like what the moment they hear it doesn't even matter, we don't even get to the conversation, it's like it's some robot, I'm hanging up? Like exactly. What is it you feel like messes up?
Well, it's really the and this is why AI works so well for inbound. For inbound, like the customer has intent. They have a problem, you're just solving the problem. Oftentimes, if you can solve it faster and better than a human, they'll be down with it. They're going to go forward with the conversation. When you do a cold outbound, you're completely interrupting that individual's day, and it's a very unnatural thing. And so you have to fight that inertia. And to fight that inertia, we've had I've been trained. I've had our entire SDR team. They've had months of training with like this like amazing like sales guru around all the intricacies. It's like boxing, right? It's like you have to handle this objection, you have to say this. It happens all very fast. And yeah, you have to have the human like intonation and everything. You have to be dynamic. And so AI is just not at that level yet. Once they notice that it's an AI, it's like, wait, I'm like, they don't even want to talk to you, even if you're a person, let alone an AI. And then I saw a few questions in the chat, so let me maybe answer those real quick.
Yeah.
So Adam asks, how is the SDR initiative different than AI voice outbound for LSA or Angie leads, where speed is important? So this is a very nuanced take, but it sounds very similar what I'm saying. But the difference is the intent. And for LSA or Angie or Thumbtack or the myriad of lead aggregators, it's a race. And so what we do typically to get those leads captured is a combination of text. In text land, it is indecipherable AI to humans, because we've gotten so good. We can make the text conversation sound human-like. We'll intentionally not capitalize certain words, make some mistakes, so they think it's a human. That's text. But then on the voice piece, it is also different, because that Angie's lead is someone with a problem and they need an instant solution. And so if you call them back, it actually does work, because you're not calling them out of the blue. You're calling them because they actually like inputted some type of problem that you're solving. So that is a very important distinction, is what makes it different. And then Whitney asks, she works remotely for a handyman service company in Mississippi. Have you noticed customers in some geographic locations more likely to have an aversion to AI tools? Do you guys have any tips on how to bridge this gap? I worry that we will lose leads even if we have something as simple as a bot letting them know that we've received their request? Great question, Whitney. So we have the answers to that. So one is that we find in our research and kind of with our experience that certain geographies, you need to have certain voices. So we have a whole selection of a dozen different voices from all the different parts of the US. And so as long as you match the tonality of the customer with the voice, that actually works significantly better. Also, the trick here is that you don't let them know that it's an AI right from the get-go, because now the AI models are so advanced that usually you can have a few turns, even like 6 or 7 turns, before anyone realizes it's an AI. And so once you get them on the hook, again, it's inbound versus outbound call. With an inbound call, we noticed that like there's a lot of people that don't ever realize they're talking to an AI. And so what we recommend is have a few turns of the conversation where the AI agent is just talking, gathering information, and sounding intelligent. Once the person knows that they're talking to an intelligent being, then even after that, if they say it's an AI, they're much more likely to continue the conversation.
Yeah, that's interesting. I want to dive into that a little bit more, if you don't mind, because I've been on the AT&T customer service call. Right, you get on there, and some AI gets on there, or some conversation. It's like, oh, push this number, or let me know what the problem you're dealing with today, and I'm like, just let me talk to somebody, right? So how did you? Right, I don't want to deal with it because it's messy. Now I know Avoca works. Right, we have the studies. I've seen the close rates and the appointment sets when clients are using it. So, like, what did you do to get past that?
Yeah, few different things. So the reason why you, myself, probably a lot of people with AT&T or a lot of these, whatever airlines ask for a person, is because we are pre-trained based on experiences to think that that robot is not actually going to solve our problem. So again, like it comes back to establishing right from the beginning that you can solve the customer's problem. They're looking, whatever that might be, changing their billing information, signing up for a membership, booking an appointment, and knowing that that's an actually booked appointment and not just like a message that they're leaving. So you have to be able to convince customers that you can do that. Now, how do you accomplish that goal? Is you build rapport. And so there's a few things that we've done. One is that for any existing customers, we're able to instantly pull their information from whatever CRM the business is using. And so we sound intelligent. Sometimes we sound even more intelligent than a CSR, because we can say, "Hey Sam, great that you're calling. We saw that, how is the pipe that we fixed last month? Are you still living at this address?" So like we already know about you, and you're like, "Wow, this AI is actually pretty intelligent." The other thing we've done is we've built an entire call center. So this is kind of interesting bit, because people are always thinking like, "Wait, Tyson, you run an AI company. Like, why do you have a whole full-blown like 100-person call center?" But what we found is that it is in service of making sure the booking rate is as high as possible. And what we do is anytime we have sentiment analysis running throughout the entire call. So when we realize that the customer is frustrated or not getting heard, we can immediately jump and have someone come in. We call it barge in and basically take over, or just like transfer right to a human, and while preserving conversational context. So that has also helped to make it so that we have like best in class booking rates.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, because like the we were just talking about what's better, human or AI, and the moments where you want to feel empathy and feel connected, like, hey, you came out and you fixed this, or I was talking about, or I was talking to the tech and he was really rude to me, and now I'm calling into your company. We really don't want the AI to be handling that. And so what you're saying is like, this is when you do the combo, right? You let that pass through to a human, or how do you guys pass it into maybe their admin team or SDR team? Like how does that work?
Yeah. So interestingly enough, we do this thing called pre-call transfer. So even before we like the AI picks up, we have some understanding of what the customer is calling about based on their phone number, based on what campaign they came in, like what marketing campaign. So we know, okay, this is a hot $350, pay-per-click lead that came in. This needs to be handled with our best rep. And so if you set it up the right way, you can have your best reps in a call group, and then we can just route it to that person. So it's kind of like right call, right CSR type of concept. Other than that, we also are able to tell like, oh, this guy's a repeat caller, who's a member, gets special treatment. This is coming from a line that's most likely some type of spam. Boom, just have the AI handle it. I'd say that's pretty important. And I guess, on the topic, there are certainly a lot of calls where you would still want a human to take.
Love that. Okay. Yeah. So for you, we've talked a lot about like when humans are better off, handling something. What about AI? When is AI just like at its peak? And it can just take over and help you save money, get more done. Like, what is that?
Yeah, great question. So I'd say the biggest times where AI shines is where you want extreme consistency and repeatability. So, there's certain things that we all know we should be doing that are the right play for whatever situation. So to name a few things, right? If your board is relatively full, but we have a high ticket item thing come in, like an aged HVAC equipment, repair or potential install, you want to override like basically everything on the board so they can schedule that. And good CSRs will know how to do that, but not everyone's a good CSR, right? Like maybe only your top few CSRs. For a lot of the other CSRs, they might just miss that. They're like, nope, it looks here like the board is full. Sorry, our next availability is 3 days later. Boom, you just lost a $40,000 job. AI is good at always understanding these rules and logic that you put into it, so it always makes the right decision. And then other things like the speed to lead that Adam was mentioning. Maybe when you're not busy, your CSRs can respond to those leads in the timely under 5 minute, under 10-minute situation. AI can respond within 5 seconds on every single lead, no matter if there's 2 leads or 1,000 leads. So the consistency and the speed is important. And then I'd say the final thing is when you have like complex, when you need to like think about things from a more systems perspective, AI is also really good. So for example, let's say your board is kind of empty, like shorter season, it's not too hot, not too cold. You might only be operating at a 40-50% board utilization, meaning if you have 30 technicians, there's only enough jobs to kind of keep people busy half the time. So in those times, you need to be able to bring more jobs. And obviously, Sam, I'd love to kind of get your perspective on, how you help businesses do that, since you're one of the best in the game to do that. What we do is we just leverage the existing customer base and start to plot jobs. But you have to do that in an intelligent way, and you have to do that by predicting demand, like how many additional jobs I'm going to get tomorrow, the next day, and then backing in the number of other like maintenances and other types of jobs, all the while keeping in mind who's available to do them. So you're kind of needing to thread the needle on this like kind of multivariable optimization. Humans are very bad at that. And so that's another place where AI shines, is like being able to think more at the system level and make these like what I call like global optimizations. I guess that kind of parlays nicely to, I'd love to hear like, how you feel like, there's some of these creative tasks I know that you guys are really good at in terms of helping folks with their SEO, their marketing. Like, what would you say are, once they get a really strong conversion rate, lead to job conversion rate, like what would be some of the strategies where you see it being important to have that human touch in marketing and creating, more of the creative, kind of SEO stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So AI is always going to be better, at least for us, when you have to pull in from multiple different data points or data systems. If it's just one, generally speaking, a human can just kind of go in there and make that happen. But if it's something where I need to pull information from here and here and here, that's when AI is going to flourish. Also, speed of tasks. Think like content, right? Like the majority of the content that we are writing starts out in AI. So we're giving it data of like, this is who our client is. This is the services that they offer. This is what they like. This is what they don't like. This is the tone. Now, here's the keyword. Here's 5 other articles that have ranked really well for that keyword. And then go and write that. So when our writers get, and we don't even call them writers anymore. We don't hire writers. We hire editors. So when our editors get the piece of content, they can read through that and go, this is great. This is phenomenal. I can take this and it's 80% done. I can do the last 20% and then call it good. Now, what AI can really, the place where it messes up for us is QAing itself. Like you can put in things to tell it to look for this, but like, at some point it will mess up. And if you really mess that up for us, at least with the client, it looks really bad. So, we've written articles again.
We have had the same thing where we've gone back and forth on figuring out our SEO strategy for Avoca. And we considered in early days like an AI SEO company. And there's just so much AI slop, I think is what people are calling it these days, that you really don't want to be associated with a company that is like putting out a lot of AI slop type of pieces. That could actually have a negative repercussion.
Yeah, absolutely. We actually use some SEO like AI tools to optimize structurally sites. And so like we can go in and like figure out how we want their site to be structured and we push changes. Now that push is phenomenal. If you leave the AI in the system to allow it to keep making updates to the page, it goes terribly bad. So we'll use it to the speed of getting it out and a lot of like the technical stuff, but then we have a developer come in and make sure everything's good. And then we pull the opportunity for the AI to continue to make changes because again, it'll make changes and it'll end up, it just doesn't understand the full scope of the strategy yet. Maybe one day,
it is improved. It's improving so rapidly that we're, just to give you an example, this weekend, I was working with my co-founder on building like a video launch script for Avoca. And, we're doing kind of a bigger announcement and whatnot. And we inputted, like we gave it 3 documents, like one kind of thing that we had been working on before, conversation we had with an advisor who's like really good in the world of like video and like coming up with creative ideas. And one other piece of information more about just like, hey, like all of everything about Avoca. And we're like, create a 1-minute like video with these concepts. And it like with we use Claude, it was impressive. Like the amount, like what it was able to do it was actually pretty incredible.
That's amazing. One of my favorite things to do with AI is you can do this via AI agent, but if you manually do it, you can go through all of like your competitors' reviews. Go to Google, go to their 1-star reviews, copy and paste them all into like a Google sheet or something like that. Then you go. This is with the idea of trying to write really good copy or really good ad copy or landing page copy. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go, you're going to give it a prompt to create you copy that speaks directly to the pain points that they're talking about.
Yep.
And that's something that would take humans so long to do. It's not even practical for like my team to go in and make that happen. But when we can do that at a really fast pace, suddenly we can get 10 new hooks, 10 new pieces of ad copy for your paid, for your Google ads. And it's like, test it out, see what works. So the testing process is so much faster when we are able to pull in AI to help us with that kind of stuff.
I'd love to collaborate at some point, Sam. Like one of the things that we're working on is a pretty cool AI marketing tool, which basically, you know how like sometimes you have one, if you create 10 videos on Facebook, one will land and like do really well, but then you can't use that much because people get used to that. So we're creating something where we can effectively make like a dozen copies of that with like slight changes. And like just using the person's shirt color or, you know, changing a word here and there. So it's not exactly the same as that initial video. And yeah, like we think that could actually be pretty helpful and pretty powerful in just creating like a lot more, helping people create more viral videos for their like Facebook advertisements.
I love that. I definitely suffer from shiny object syndrome. So would definitely love to get distracted and go down that rabbit hole with you and make that happen. But yeah, the other ways that I see it working really well is throwing your website URL into ChatGPT or Claude and having it analyze you and say, hey, how can I optimize this to get more leads? It will give you options. Another thing you can do is, let's say you have other companies that you really like their websites. You can take theirs, compare it to the landing page that you have, and say, hey, compare these two, and let me know some ideas. That's ways that we've used it. You can, I mean, copy is such a good one because it pulls so much data from. You can pull in templates of landing pages, ad copies, there anything where you need it to go pull in, again, lots of data from lots of different places and make decisions for you is going to be good. Obviously on the appointment setting, after hours. So like on a marketing standpoint, one of the advantages for companies that have after hour call centers is that you're open more. So it's literally easier for your marketing agency to drive you more leads because you're just open later. And Google notices that and they like that and they want to reward you for that. So anytime you can have, after hour call center or, Avoca come in and answer and, get appointments on your board after hours is going to be beneficial for your marketing. Yeah, if anybody has any questions around like, hey, how can I use AI in my marketing? Throw it in there. I'd happy like get into a little bit more detail.
There's probably like one interesting thing. We talked about this maybe a long time ago, but like there's a concept of being able to tailor your landing page based on like which query that customers are asking about.
Yeah,
that's something that I feel like AI could do a great job with more on like the marketing front. Like, have you guys looked into that at all?
Oh yeah. So it's pretty like, so when you have like a keyword that you're wanting to rank for, right? Your service in your area, it is pretty easy to go find all the queries. Just say, hey, Google, what are all the queries that are come in for this? Or what are the top ones with the most search results? From there, you just have AI write all that content for you. And then you go and obviously I would highly suggest editing it first and not just posting it. And then post it and link it all together. It's like 75% of SEO right there.
Yeah, but I'm saying more so like, let's say you have some like plumbing page that's like I noticed I noticed Eddie's here. Let's say like air serve. So like if someone's searching for plumbing, they can say like they see air serve the number one plumber in this area. But if someone's searching for like HVAC, they can say when they go to the landing page, they'll see AirServe, the number one like HVAC technician in this area.
So like having it like dynamically change on the page based on what you're searching for.
Yeah.
I've not seen that tool. Maybe it exists. If somebody knows about it, please let me know, because that would be hot. But I know we do that for our ads. So we have like certain like ads where we change like location and service based on like what you're looking for, or not usually service, mostly just location, because we'll have services in different ads groups. But yeah, we do that with the ad copy.
Yep. Cool. Maybe we can do like some Q&A and see like maybe we can do something where folks ask about like, hey, here's a problem I'm having in my business. Should I use AI or humans to solve it? What do you think?
And then we will ask Claude to answer your question for you. So Jessica's typing really fast in the background. Say this, Sam. So come at us.
Yes, and for anybody who doesn't know, just go to the chat at the bottom of your screen and throw your questions in there. We've got a couple that filled in earlier that we answered. So anything that you want these guys to answer, they're all yours.
Is there anything else, Tyson, in the AI world where you've gone, it sounds like a good idea to build a company around this with AI, but it's not? Kind of like the outbound thing?
Yeah, like what are kind of like the trap ideas in some sense? There's definitely I'm trying to think of a few things. The outbound is definitely one of the most important areas. That's why, when people do things like outbounding, a lot of folks think that they can only outbound to the people that have been in their existing customers. But there's a lot of these companies like Elite Call, for example, is a great one where they have teams of SDRs, essentially like people like kind of the folks that we have that specialize in saving jobs, or even let's say you're in an area and you want to expand into like, hey, like I want to do more work in these neighborhoods. They actually can go and cold call those new customers that you've never even interacted with to get you kind of business. So that's a really good one. I see Grant here is asking about estimates and takeoffs around pricing. So yeah, like another thing is we have this outbound workflow that's pretty cool. It's based on like kind of, you have all these estimates, and one of the lowest hanging fruit is just converting more of your estimates. And the easiest thing to do that is to just follow up more. So what we do is we can do these we drip campaigns to essentially follow up. Like once a technician gives an estimate to a homeowner, we'll follow up like, a day after, 2 days after. And the interesting part is that you don't want, because again, to my initial point, the actual closing estimate is a very sales heavy thing. So you don't want AI to necessarily be the one that's closing that estimate, but AI can kind of make enough context so that when the customer responds, then it alerts someone on the inside sales team, and then they go in for the kill. So like all of these things, it's kind of like you need the human in the loop, but you need the mechanism and infrastructure in place so the AI and human handoff is seamless. So I'd say that's probably like what I'd recommend. Yeah.
That's cool. I was actually talking to a software entrepreneur the other day in the home service space, and they were starting to work with AI inside of estimates when people were like at the house. So they would like put in information, and based on call board, what had been sold that day, what have y'all sold for the month? Because sometimes in a month, you're just trying to break even. You're just like, sell anything at any kind of profit margin because I need to make sure I've got enough money. So it like takes all these things into account to help the tech give a price that's going to either get them the job at any cost or try to squeeze out as much profit as possible. So I have seen it. I don't think it's launched yet, so who knows if it's successful. But I think that there is a definitely a space there for that.
Yeah. I'd imagine so. I guess let's see here. Angela has asked about outbounds for collections. Currently use robocalls, but I have to call back in. We like to utilize it that way. It's handled without the influx of inbounds after running the robocalls. Yes. So billing is something that, yeah, this could be a great use case. We don't currently have it yet in our platform, but once we figure out kind of the legalities, which we're close to around billing, we would certainly be able to do this. And other times, like we also have some folks that are wanting to pay for memberships too over the phone. So any type of billing essentially could be done through an AI call. It's certainly possible. So yeah.
I would literally be your first customer because collections is an issue. And it's just not a small issue either. It's because it compounds really quickly. You know, I've got probably around 20 grand of just invoices that haven't been collected yet. And some of it's legit. Like some of it's like, hey, we just had fraud happen to us and we're really struggling. So some of that's like, we understand and we try to be like good partners in those moments. But some of it is people are just really bad at paying those invoices. But like 1 month is 20 grand. The next month we're talking about a $40,000 problem. So we have someone internal who's hired. He does the job. He's great. But we do not have an AI agent kind of reaching out. And I'd be all over that.
Very nice. Mark asks, I need AI to help me find new customers, residential and commercial, for my home service businesses. Any suggestions? Sam, you want to take this one?
Yeah, I mean, one, that's a great problem. Like everyone has this problem. We're all looking for new customers. And there's a lot of different ways you can go about that. I would want to know what you're already doing to get new customers. I don't know of any AI prompt or anything that just like you throw it in and suddenly you're going to go get new customers. What AI is going to do is help you do the activities to get more out of your marketing. You know, so for example, like you could throw your Google My Business inside of AI and say, hey, check out my Google My Business and see what else I could be doing in this. Or we talked about blog content. You could be using blog content to help you, grow your marketing. But as far as I know, Tyson, correct me if you think I'm wrong. There's no like, oh, this AI agent literally just goes and gets me new customers outside of what you've been talking about of having like past customer list where you can use to go get new business.
Exactly. Yeah, you're technically not allowed to use AI to reach out to cold call. That's just not legal. But yeah, what we're working on is utilizing our kind of in-house team and also utilizing a network a leads kind of source that can find like what are the highest potential value neighborhoods around your areas. And then we can do blasts around like true outbounds with humans. That is legal. So Mark, yeah, I'd love to share more, for that offering at some point.
Oh yeah.
Direct mail too. People always forget the power of direct mail, but there's actually, you can if you send a very nice piece of direct mail, it could be very helpful for things like closing unsold estimates. So yeah, that's a very, very powerful thing as well.
Yeah, one of my favorite moments in my business career was we did a owned and operated like meetup in Charleston, which is where I'm located. And in that meetup, we had two, I'm going to call them titans because it feels like titans to me, entrepreneurs of HVAC companies, both over $30 million together. And they were just giving each other their secrets. Like they were not holding back their competitors in the same market. And, one was like one of our best acquisitions channels is mailers. And the other one's goes, what? Like, we tried this so many times, it doesn't work for us. He's like, well, we do it in this neighborhood. He's like, we literally tried that in that neighborhood. Well, what's your copy? So they're like going back and forth telling each other what to do. So like, if you've tried it in an area and if it hasn't worked, you're just, a young version of that $30 million HVAC owner, right? Just keep trying it, because that is such a baller way to go about it. It's not sexy. It's not like Google ads or, some Facebook ads where you're like, oh, this is the cool, digital marketing thing. It is boring, but it works. So,
I would say, especially as more people are grew up in the digital age, like these more traditional means is actually where the alpha is.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I agree. You have a lot of like private equity companies coming in and buying up, shops, and they think digitally, right? Which everyone should. It's a great landscape. I'm not dogging digital stuff. I sell the digital stuff, but also like I think there's like a bunch of unforgotten like low hanging fruit to going and getting new business. Obviously, your customer list, mailers, things like that actually work.
Sam, on that topic a little bit, like what's your take on answer engine optimization? Are you seeing trends of people finding home service businesses more through ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, and how do folks prepare for that shift that's coming?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. And the answer is reviews. And it always will be reviews. Please just like double down on reviews in 2026 if you can. I personally, my anecdote would be that I was looking for a local doctor in my area. So I had ChatGPT pull up a list of all the doctors in the area, pull in their reviews. And it literally, like, the one I went with was because he had a review that said the doctor like messaged him at his house to check in on him after this. I was like, okay, like that's what I want from my general practitioner. Someone who cares, someone's going to go the extra mile. Cool, I'm going to go that way. But that's not something you found in Google because it was so hard, back in the day without AI, it was so hard to go through all the reviews. You were just like, well, this one has more reviews, so I'm going to go with that. So the type of reviews that are being left is going to matter a lot. We are absolutely seeing people come through Perplexity, ChatGPT, mostly those two more than in Gemini, mostly those.
How's the trend line being? I thought I read something that was like 1%, like, a year ago. Like, is it rising?
It is rising. I don't think it's, it has not hit its stride yet. I think that there's going to be a moment where it like, whoop, but like we're seeing it grow. But like not
candidly,
yet.
I'm probably in the 1% of tech forward folks, but
yeah,
a lot of my searches for recommendations on venue or like locations is more and more like ChatGPT now.
Frankly, I think it's because the reason why I don't think it's exploded as much is because ChatGPT is pulling in from Bing versus Google more. And so I think once that switches, I think it'll be even better.
I heard it's also indexes quite heavily on Reddit. Is that a thing where people should try to get more, Reddit content?
Reddit's so powerful, not only for like, ChatGPT, but also SEO, because SEO is going to pull that in as well. Your Google. So yeah, 100%. I'm not saying we definitely try to get backlinks from Reddit because that's really powerful.
Yeah. Well, wonderful.
Grant's like, believes the AI overviews are the next evolution. Yes, and if you don't know, ChatGPT is launching a paid advertisement for anyone that's using their free accounts to pay for that. And so we are in the very early stages of starting to figure out how that's going to look. We don't know, but the one thing that the Sam Altman said is that he really likes the way Instagram has done their ads. So my guess is the ads are going to be very visual, very image based, similar to what you see on Facebook or Instagram. My guess is not video, image specific stills. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yep.
Angela's saying, we've had a handful of people say they found us listed as rated on the top of ChatGPT, and that's why they called. That's cool to hear. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, every once in a while we'll get like one of our clients listed at the top LLM, and it's just always cool to see. And so it's going to be really interesting. I wonder if it fades out where like the older generation just continues to use Google while the younger generation just starts adopting more. So yeah. Anyone else have any questions? I think we're almost to the end. If you're trapped underneath the snow right now, let me know and I'll send the dogs. You know, we'll send them for you. Oh. Anything else from you, Tyson?
Sam, should we wrap up here soon?
Yeah, Tyson, if people want to work with Avoca and are tired of not getting all these leads that they're getting from their agency, not turning into appointments because they're not using Avoca, how can they reach out to you?
Yeah, we have an owned and operated folks get a pretty special deal. But I'll just put in our, yep, there it is.
Ooh, look at that. Jessica's faster.
Jessica beat me to it. So yeah, visit our website. And if you go through the owned and operated portal, you'll get a special deal. And Sam, right back at you.
Let's do it. Yeah, if you want more leads, more phone calls for your home service business, Jessica, you're going to hit me up with, look at that, a link.
Gotcha.
That. We're also doing a 12 months of free marketing for one lucky winner over the next couple months. I think it ends in March. So if you sign up between now and March, we're going to select one person and say, hey, thanks for signing up. The next 12 months is free. And I think it's everything. It's like, we will build you a free website, free SEO, free PPC, free Facebook ads. It's like whatever you want. We're going to do it for free because, that's what brings in the leads. And so I'm not saying that if you're an owned and operated pro member that you're going to get an advantage, but they do pay the bills. So, maybe there's a slight advantage for being an owned and operator member. So, if you want some, go ahead.
I was just gonna tell the folks. We have several customers of Avoca that use service scalers, and especially if you're rapidly growing, I think we've seen folks that use service scalers because we can see all the data with the calls and stuff. Like, it's pretty effective. So definitely give Sam a look.
Stop it. Thanks, Tyson. Appreciate it. Keep going.
Best of buds.
Yeah, buddy.
Awesome.
Eddie's over here giving you a shout out though. Been using Avoca for a couple of years. This is a lifer right here. It's great.
No, they've been crushing it, and I think Eddie is featured in one of our videos. We helped them before they were using an after-hours call center that was just. I can't believe that it was. I think it was like booking at like 50-60%, and I think we've been able to help them book in the 90%. So very blessed to work with Eddie.
Let's go. That's amazing. Well, thanks everybody for joining us today. Jessica, I don't know if you want to do the outro. I just jumped in there. Thanks for everybody joining us today.
You're just so on it. He's taking all.
I know. Apparently, I just took over. Do we have anything coming up next, Jessica, that we should let people know about?
Wow, the next session we're going to have is with Sam. So if you liked hanging out with Sam or his hat, we actually have a session on February 10th that's going to be going all over about SEO. Sorry, I'm bumbling over here. This cold out here is freezing my brain. So join us for Sam's session, SEO, hang out. He's fun. So that will be linked in an email you'll be getting with the replay, just some recaps that we talked about today. So be sure to check out that email. It'll be coming out here at 3. And then if you love calls like this, you're seeing about 10% of what owned and operated really covers. So I will actually be linking my book a call here in the chat as well.
Yeah.
We have peer groups and virtual roundtables and a private chat forum that's included in our VIP tier. So if you are interested in way more conversations and connection, book a call with me. That will also be in the email. And yeah, I think that covers it all. Sam and Tyson, thank you so much for joining us. This was really informative, and I think I even have some takeaways from this. So, and thanks everyone. Stay warm if you were in the cold like Tyson and I. And if you're like Sam, well, good for you. You were smart and moved south. So. Any last words from you guys? Yeah. Any last words from you guys?
Thanks, everybody. It's been epic. Thanks, Shannon. Yeah, please let us know if we can help in any way.
Cool. Appreciate it, guys. Awesome. Thanks for joining in.
Have a good one.
See everyone. Bye.
Bye.